All right, ladies and gentlemen, my guest at this time is Sumiko. You know her as a wrestler. She also does custom wrestling as well. She's joining me right now. Hello, Sumiko.
Hello.
How you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing real good, and I just want to say thank you so very much for joining me this evening here on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And like I said, I'm familiar with your work for wrestling, and mostly on the custom wrestling scene. You're
Yes.
definitely a household name in that department, and I purchased some videos from that includes you on Sleeper Kids World, and you're very impressive on that.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I always enjoy going down the Sleeper Kids world.
That's awesome. And let's go ahead and begin. We'll get into some questions here. Um,
Sure.
what made you get into wrestling? How did that start it off from you?
well, I watched wrestling with my dad growing up, but I never really thought about being a wrestler until I don't know if you're familiar with Fantasy. She is a pro wrestler, an indie pro wrestler, and she was actually just a personal friend of mine. She had worked for Sleeper Kids World and kind of thought that I would be a good fit for his company, and she wanted me to go down there with her one day and try it out. And let's just say I loved it, and it just felt really natural to me. So, I jumped right in.
I'm definitely familiar with fantasy. Like you pointed out, she's a wrestler herself. She's also been in Sleeper Kids World and other websites as well. And y'all two have had your fair share of matches against each other in the past, and are well done. Y'all obviously have the chemistry, regardless of what character y'all play, and it's a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
So, fast forward, now you're focusing more on doing custom wrestling, and here's what I want to ask you: exactly what do you like the most of doing custom wrestling? Is it the scripts that the fans sent? Is it something that you wanted to do more than doing, indie wrestling shows? Like, what do you like the most of doing custom wrestling?
I think it is that extra connection that I can make with a fan or a client of mine when they send in their script and I get to act it out. I really do enjoy that. It seems more personal to me, I guess. Although I have been a part of some indie shows as well, and I enjoy both sides of the wrestling business.
So I'm sure a lot of wrestlers, including yourself, remember the first time as it pertains to the first match that you have had. And I'm just saying first match as far as indie shows is concerned. Do you remember your first ever match that you had? And if so, who was your opponent or opponents, and what company did you work for at the time?
Well, it was actually an indie show that was based out of my hometown of Dalton, Georgia, and their name was TWA. Fantasy actually wrestled up there quite often, and my first match was actually against her.
How did you feel about, getting ready for your first match? Was there any signs of butterflies, like feeling
Oh yeah,
nervous?
that's probably like the most nervous I've ever been. Performing in front of a crowd, especially you know being new to wrestling. I was very nervous, but I think once I got out there, the adrenaline and just the crowd's energy just got me through that match, and I'll never forget it. It was a blast.
That's awesome. And you know what? I can understand, you know, being nervous, being in front of people. You want to make a great impression. You want to not make them think too much. Just focus on the task at hand. Even when you do custom wrestling matches, scripted matches, do you feel nervous on that as well, or is it more comfortable considering you're not in front of a crowd? It's just you and the person that's filming you. Like, do you get any sign of nervousness doing going through these scripted matches?
Usually not. Sometimes I do. I'm pretty confident in my wrestling skills, so for the most part, I don't get nervous with that stuff. I mean, you can always cut in the custom world as well. Whereas in the indie shows, you can't do that. So I'm definitely more nervous when I'm doing a live show for sure.
I guess the best thing about doing these custom wrestling scripts and everything is it's kind of like a movie. Like, you want to make sure a scene is right, and if the director gets any notion that it's not going the way that it's supposed to do, you keep doing it over and over again. Now, it can be frustrating at times, but you're not in front of a bunch of people. You get time and time again to do it until you get the scene done correctly.
Oh yes, definitely. I'm definitely a perfectionist, and especially now that I have stepped into the shoes of being a producer myself, I'm definitely always trying to get the perfect scene, and I will cut several times if I need to achieve that because I want to deliver, a good quality product to my clients and my fans.
So, Sumiko, who do you consider like the biggest influences in your wrestling career? It could be anyone that's on the indie scene, anyone on the custom wrestling industry, or anyone in the pros, anyone particular. Who do you consider your biggest influences?
Definitely, Fantasy was right up there. Like I said, she was the one who basically got me started in the wrestling industry. And then definitely Sleeper Kid. He is a close personal friend of mine, and he has helped me tremendously through these years that I've worked with him. And I really feel that I owe him a lot, and I wouldn't be where I am today without him. I really feel that way. I'm really grateful to him as a close personal friend.
I gotta hand the Sleeper Kid, someone who's started started this company from the ground up, and you've been a huge part of his company, of the website, and that website hasn't looked back since. And it seems like every time there's a SKW update, you just happen to be featuring the updates. Like, you can't have a Sleeper Kids update without some Sumiko in it, and at least that's how I feel about it. Now, no disrespect to the rest of the ladies because they good, they look good and they talented at what they do, but because of your relationship with him and the longevity and you being popular and all, it would just be odd that there's a Sleeper Kids update without some Sumiko. I'm just saying.
Well, thank you. I do. That is definitely, that's what I view as my home as far as wrestling goes. I mean, I got my start there, and it's definitely a place that I'll hold close to my heart forever, and I'll never forget it. So, and I think that he's a great, influence on me as far as my own company as well. He's always very supportive and helpful with me. It's giving me advice and things of that nature as well. So I'm a pretty lucky gal, I guess.
If anyone should be feeling lucky, is the satisfied customers. It's just because we like what we see in Sumiko. Now, when it comes to role that you play, which role do you like better? Is it Do you like being the baby face or do you like being the heel?
Man, that's a really tough question for me because I thoroughly enjoy both. I mean, I honestly feel like I almost have an alter ego with the baby face and the heel. But I don't know. I really enjoy playing a baby face. I guess I'm used to it for one. It's always a lot of fun for me when I get to actually play a heel because I get to show my mean side, and I don't get to do that very often. So I really enjoy the baby face role. Just because I think that is more of my personality. Uh, but like I said, I also enjoy the acting side of it, and I love playing a heel as well. So that's a really, really tough one for me. It's very close, but I'd say I like being a baby face maybe just a little better.
That's cool. That's absolutely cool. I mean, whatever floats your boat, I guess, whatever makes you more comfortable in yourself, then, that's all that matters because at the end of the day, regardless if it's custom or is it just an indie show, the promoter's job is to make sure that the wrestler is comfortable in what they're doing. Now, I understand sometimes you got to do things outside your comfort zone, but as long as
Right.
they play up to your strengths, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's just, I love to sell moves, I love to sell holds, and, I get to do that a lot more, obviously, as a baby face, so I get to showcase those skills a lot more.
Now, are there any wrestlers out there, Sumiko, that you haven't had a chance to work with but would like to work with someday? Anyone that stands out, like I want to have a match with this person.
Huh. You know what? I've worked with so many great wrestlers so far that I don't know. Mutiny is a great wrestler. I've never had the privilege of working with her yet. There's a lot of wrestlers out west that I would like to work with one day. I actually haven't been out west yet, so I think I'm gonna have to plan a trip out there, see what's going on out there in the West Coast.
At this point, I mean, that might as well be a dream match between you versus Mutiny. I mean, she's very popular herself, and you're very popular. So I say, Sleeper Kid or any other company out there, I say let's make that happen. Sumiko versus Mutiny. I definitely like to see that. I guess I'll try to put some money in there if I can afford it. I'm not gonna pay all of it. But I say why not? Never say never, as they say in the wrestling business, right?
Right.
So
Anything is possible. Like I'm very excited. I think November 2nd, Awesome Kong is going to make an appearance at Sleeper Kids World, and that's definitely probably going to be the highlight of my career thus far. So I'm really looking forward to that meeting.
that is going to be very interesting, and of course, Kong has done some custom wrestling before, but that was mostly through slamming ladies. But this
Right.
is gonna be a bit different. This is that we used to seeing Kong. So, um, here's another question I want to ask you. The term is jobber, and a lot of people say that you play that role very well. Now, you're a wrestler. You take things seriously. You are an actual trained wrestler yourself, and I guess people can use jobber in so many ways, but how do you feel when people say you portray a jobber very well? Does it bother you? Is it like a compliment? Like, how do you
No,
feel about?
I embrace that as a compliment because for me, it's a show, and if they enjoy my role as a jobber, then that's a compliment to me. And like I said, I thoroughly enjoy playing the role of a babyface or a jobber. I love selling those painful moves, and I feel great about it when somebody gives me a compliment like that.
Okay, I can definitely respect that. I mean, at the end of the day, you do what you do to please the customer, and hey, they like it, then so be it, I guess.